Hi guys, my name's Dan. I'm one of the Africa keepers here at the Cincinnati Zoo. Welcome back to our home safaris. I'm here with Rose. She's one of our 2 female ostriches we have at the zoo. She's about 12 years old, and I have been working with her for about 6 years. We are going to do a quick training session with her for you guys to see. Every year these guys get a vet check from our vets, just like you might when you go to the doctor. So we train them for a bunch of different things, like being touched. We also train them so they can get shots. We need to give them any medicine that way. And we can also draw blood from them just to make sure they're all there, that they're healthy and everything looks good. That way if they ever do get sick, we know what their normal blood work looks like so we can compare it. So Rose just laid down. I am going to see if she wants to get back up for us. And then Amanda's going to help me do a quick training session with her, and then we're going to meet our other ostrich, Pam, talk a little bit more about ostriches in general. Want some food? Okay. So right now we're going to do blood draw training. Good?
Yep. So what we're doing, if you come down here and look, touch, there's a vein on the inside of this leg. What the vet techs will do is aim for that. So when we draw blood, we would stick. So when we're training her, we just tell her what we're doing ahead of time so that she's not frightened by anything that we're doing. We hold it there for a few seconds, holding off. That way I'm communicating with Dan what I'm doing, and the bird's all good to go. Yep.
Okay, so we are going to meet our other ostrich. Her name is Pam. Okay, so we're going to give Rose some lettuce, which is one of her favorite foods. Ostriches are really curious, so you might see her trying to peck at her fingers or something. That's not her being mean, that's just her kind of checking out what's going on around her. Rose is by far our more friendly ostrich, or more personable, I should say. Pam's a lot shyer, but hopefully she comes up to say hi. If you're ever at the zoo and you want to be able to tell these guys apart, the easiest way is their size. Rose is about 60 pounds heavier than Pam. So Rose weighs around 300 pounds, and Pam is closer to 240 pounds. So these guys are the largest birds in the world. They're really heavy, which is really unique for birds. Normally, a bird is a lot lighter than it looks because they have hollow bones to help them fly. Are you okay there? But these guys, since they don't need to fly, they have solid bones just like we do. So some other things that are kind of cool about them, they're really fast runners. They can run up to about 43 miles an hour if they need to. They've got really strong legs. If you take a look here at Rose's thigh, you can see how muscular and strong those are. That helps them run really fast. They also, if they need to defend themselves, have a really powerful kick. So they've got really unique toes. They've kind of got a long nail on the inner toe there that helps them defend themselves. But their feet kind of look like dinosaur feet. They're pretty unique. They're the only birds in the world that have 2 toes. So you can also see their feathers are really loose and really just let air move right through them. That's another thing that helps them stay cool or warm, but it doesn't help them fly. Normally, birds' feathers fit together like a zipper, and that's what helps them fly around. So these guys do have really, really good vision. You can see they've got really big eyes. They've got the largest eye of any land animal. You can see they also have a small head, so there's not a lot of room in there for a brain. Their brains are about as big as a walnut. So these guys aren't the smartest birds in the world, but we do like them here, and they do a lot of training, and they do really good for us, especially Rose here. If you guys have any questions, send them in. I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, you ready for them?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremiah asked, how fast can they run?
These guys can run up to 43 miles an hour. That's pretty fast.
And Ruth asked, how long do they live?
These guys can live to be about 30. normally. Some have gotten closer to 40, but I would say late 20s, around 30s. That's a very good average for them. So these guys are still pretty young. They're only 12.
Vivian asked if they're endangered.
Ostriches as a whole are not. There's some different subspecies. And most of them are doing good. There is a North African ostrich that lives in the Sahara Desert up in northern Africa. Those guys are endangered from hunting and habitat loss. But there is a reintroduction program going on right now where they're breeding those guys and setting them up to reintroduce them to the wild once their habitat's a little bit safer for them.
Logan asked, why is their neck so long?
That is a great question. Their neck is probably so long so that they can reach the ground a little bit easier. One thing that you guys may have heard about ostriches that isn't really true is that they hide their heads in the sand. What they do is, if they see a threat far away, like a predator, they've got those really big eyes so they can see really well. They'll put their head down, and then from a distance they look like a termite mound, which are all over the place in Africa, so that helps them blend in, and hopefully from a distance not look like a meal for someone else.
Rachel wanted to know if you're able to tell the difference between a male and a female.
That is a great question, and yes, we are. So if you see both of our ostriches here, they're that brownish gray color. Males are black with white feathers on their tail and at the tips of their wings. And the reason for that is actually really cool. It's because ostriches, both the male and the female, lay on their nests. So the females will lay on the nests during the day and they blend in with the sandy, grassy areas that they live in. And then the males lay on them at night and when it's dark outside, so that's why they're black.
Cooper wants to know how much ours weigh.
We just weighed them. Rose was 300 pounds on the dot, and Pam, I believe, was 242 pounds. That's all I
Emma
got.
wants to know, are they the only birds that can't fly?
No, there's a whole bunch of birds that can't fly, like penguins. There's some flightless parrots. There's a good amount of birds on some islands that can't fly. Ostriches are in a group of birds called ratites, and that means that they have a flat chest. They don't have a keel, which is normally where muscle connects and gives birds the wing power to fly. So ostriches, emus, rheas, cassowaries, and kiwis are kind of lumped together as ratites. They aren't closely related, but they all share that characteristic. But they're normally the bigger, taller, flightless birds.
Emma wants to know, what is their favorite food?
Their favorite food is duck food. It's a pellet that's made for ducks, and we used to have ducks in Africa, and we tried it out as just a food for them one day, and that is Pam's by far favorite food. That's what we use for all of her training. Rose really likes it too. We were using ratite, which is ratite grain, which is a grain for ostriches, and that's what we use for Rose's training. She's not quite as picky, but yeah, their grain is their favorite food.
Olivia wanted to know, how many babies do they have at a time?
That is a great question, and that can vary. They can have around a dozen or so. Several females will lay eggs in one big communal nest, and then the dominant female will kick out a bunch of the eggs, and kind of depends how many she leaves back there, but it's normally around a dozen.
Ella had a great question. She wanted to know, can they make any noises or sounds?
They can make like a hissing sound, and the males can make a booming noise that they use during their courtship display. They kind of inflate their neck and kind of leave it back and forth side to side, and that's what and they'll make a booming sound then. But our girls, mainly just a hissing noise.
Now, does that mean they're mad?
Normally. It's not a happy noise. So it's normally if they're displaying for someone else out in the savannah yard, trying to tell them to give them their personal space.
Madison wanted to know, do they have any teeth?
They do not have teeth. So if you saw how Rose was eating that lettuce earlier, she has to tear off pieces. But no teeth for her. And here comes Pam. She's eating some of the lettuce too, so you can watch how she swallows that. And you can see they swallow it whole. So if you watch Pam, you might be able to see that whole piece of lettuce move down her throat, which is kind of a weird thing to see.
Blake has a funny question. Can people really ride them like you see in the movies?
You can. It's not necessarily, they aren't built for it, so it's not the best thing for them, but it can be done.
Juliet wants to know, how long does it take for an ostrich egg to hatch?
That is a great question, and I do not know the answer to that.
Tara wants to know, how do they sleep? Do they lay down? Do they sleep standing up?
Ours normally lay down to sleep. Yep.
Emerson wants to know, are there different kinds of ostriches?
Just subspecies. I think there's 3 subspecies throughout Africa, but no different species. There is a push to make the North African its own species, but that's still being debated right now.
Nora wanted to know if their feathers are rough or are they soft?
Their feathers are soft. You might see some feather dusters like the one in Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon. That feather duster is made out of ostrich eggs, or ostrich feathers, sorry.
Haley asked, do they have predators?
They do. So things like lions, hyenas, painted dogs, all those guys can go after them. Vultures and things and eagles might go after ostrich chicks when they're smaller. But yeah, these guys do have predators. They can defend themselves, they can run really fast. So they're doing pretty good.
Madison was wondering, can they swim?
They can swim. There's some pictures out there where you see ostriches not too far out in the ocean. Once in a while, Pam likes to go swimming in the moat that we have out in their yard here. So they're shockingly good swimmers.
And do ours actually lay eggs here?
They
even
do.
With no male?
They do. So just like the chicken eggs that you might get at the grocery store, ours do lay eggs. And we have our ostrich egg and a chicken egg to show you. Rose is going to try and eat it, which is what she does. But you can see there's a big size difference. Thank you for your help, Rose. An ostrich egg is about as big as 2 dozen chicken eggs. So they're, thank you, pretty cool. It's the largest egg of any bird in the world, but what's kind of interesting is compared to the size of the bird laying it, it's one of the smallest. So it's relatively easy for an ostrich to lay this giant egg because they're so big. And today, if you guys want, you can learn how to make your very own ostrich chick hatching out of an ostrich egg. If you click the link on this home safari, I'll take you and give you some instructions, and you can do that all for yourself. So, okay. All right, everyone, have a great day, and tune in tomorrow for the next home safari.